I think this is going to be one of the nerdiest videos I've actually made on Notion so far. I've been using Notion for over 3 years, and in that time my space has gone from just tick boxes to massive amounts of properties and databases to loads of other stuff and pages that I don't really need, and I finalized my system about 2 years ago. But I've recently gone through a complete system reboot with some really big heavy formulas justifying most of what I do now. Before I dive into my space, there are a couple of disclaimers I am going to say. First, you do not need any of this in your space. Second, you do not need to understand the formulas and what is going on. They are purely for my workflow. And the third thing is, even though I am really satisfied with what it looks like now, guaranteed there will be small tweaks and changes that happen in the future. So do not think Notion is finished. You are never finished with Notion. Yeah. Okay, right. So now that's kind of all like the serious stuff out of the way. Let's have fun with Notion. Let's dive in. On my dashboard, it's a main page. Those of you that have seen my space before, you will know that I did have a tab bar, and I don't like using the sidebar. Everything that is in this is absolutely everything. That's it. The reason I have dashboards, and this is my public page, the reason I have these as my favorites is dashboard. It allows me, because I'm in the app, to push Control-1 on my keyboard to jump to my dashboard from anywhere in my space. If you're on the browser, it goes to the first tab, which is mildly irritating, which is why I use the app over the browser. So once I've got this top page, this is where everything stems from. Previously in my space, I had a tab bar, which was a set of emojis in a global block that allowed me to navigate around my space. I have now changed that into this. And what this is a dashboards database. What basically I realized is every single page in my tab bar was a dashboard. It was a dashboard to show me contextual information for specific pages. Now, I was going to put these just as pages like you normally would in a space, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to know when I was last active in that dashboard. So when I was last active doing something in that area, per se, of my life, my work, anything like that. At the top, you can see my main dashboards, because this is mainly where my focus is. YouTube being my main focus because I'm a content creator. Instagram, because I'm on Instagram stories a lot, and I tried Instagram. It was something I was working on. It was something I was looking towards. Then I have live streaming, blogging, LinkedIn, Facebook, and business. And business is probably the biggest dashboard that I go to for planning and things like that. But having these in a database allows me to see this roll up. So 2 days ago, 12 days ago, 2 days ago, you can see when I last actioned something in that dashboard. And for me, this is really nice, so I can see, oh, I haven't been in that dashboard, or I haven't actioned something in that area of my life in 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, whatever. So I can go in there and have a look and go, actually, maybe I need to do something else. Now, this database is also linked further down in my space. So if we scroll past some stuff, you can see we've got storage, art, resources, exercise, milestones, wish list, and quotes. Now, I'm not going to go into every single dashboard because that would make the video drastically long. But essentially, they all look very, very similar. A very quick mention, there is a creator that's reached out to me, and I figured, well, you guys are interested in Notion, so you may be interested in this. What they're doing is they are designing a personalized avatar. So you can see this is me in Notion right there. And what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get your own personalized Notion avatar. I'm going to go into the storage dashboard because I think this will give you the best overview of what's going on in my space. So all this is a page in the dashboards database. So you can see I'm in my dashboard page, my main dashboard page, then I'm in my dashboards database, and then I'm in a page in the dashboards database called storage. Now, because of the most recent update, I can now hide these properties, but I will show you what I've got here. I have the rollup for recent action. So this is the rollup that I'm showing on my main page that's telling me 2 days, 5 days, 7 days, or anything like that. And this rollup is working on my tasks. So I need a relation to use a rollup, for those of you that aren't aware, and all of my tasks have a completed date. So when I have completed a task, this rollup will say, okay, that's the last time you completed a task, because it is configured for last date. You can see there it is, configured to completed date, latest date. Then I have notes, projects, tasks, and then main board. So if I want any of those dashboards to show at the top of the page, I can click this tick box so it goes to the top of the page, because sometimes priorities change. Maybe exercise goes to the top and Instagram may drop down because I stopped focusing on Instagram. So I can change that view how I want and where I want. So this is the overview of my space. This is every single thing that's in my space. So I have a task database, a projects database, a notes and ideas database, a dashboards database, which we are currently in, and then my tracking database. That is every single database that is in my space. There is nothing else. Inside those databases, I have templates. Inside the task database, I have these templates. So these are the 4 templates for this database. Then inside the projects database, I have these templates. Now I've linked the page of the templates here, so I can go straight to the templates from this view, so I don't have to go into the database. So whenever I need to edit an SOP or anything like that, I can do it from here. I can find everything from here. And as you can see, the notes database has the most templates because that's the database that has the most variety in content that goes into it. So very quickly, wish list. If I go into this, you can see it adds a wish list dashboard relation to it. Then I have the created date, I have the time to review, and then I have a tag. Now this, as you can see, is inside the notes database, but all of these templates basically just attach the dashboard relation. So wishlist dashboard. Content idea is video, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram dashboards all linked together because it's a piece of content that's going to go across the board. LinkedIn video idea, as you can see, they're all named appropriately. So whenever I'm capturing an idea that I want to go into those dashboards, I use these templates. Typically, I will then use those notes to create a project, and the process of creating a project, I recently did a video on my content workflow advice, which I will link probably in the cards up here somewhere, but I will go over it later on as well because I have made some changes since that video. Then, as you can see down here, we have some letters. What these letters show me are the tasks that are involved in the project. So I don't have templates for those tasks in the task database because they are stored inside the project template in the projects database. So we're back at my dashboard. You can see these are the dashboards that we were going through. Then I have the notes database, and this is the notes database that has all of those templates in. You can see this is filtered for dashboard is empty. What this means is any note that I add into this database that I haven't categorized with a dashboard relation will show up here. Also, if I decide when I'm in that dashboard, say I'm in YouTube, and I don't want this note in here anymore, I can get rid of the relation and it will show back up on my dashboard. So to give you a quick example, this is a note that I left here. App livestream panel, or app panel livestream. Basically, this is an idea for a live stream. So I can go into here, I can click live stream idea. Once I've clicked that, there's the live stream relation in the dashboard. I can click out and now it's gone, and now it's all sorted in that dashboard. So that will now appear in this dashboard up here. When we scroll down, you can see I've got lots of different versions of my task database, and this is because of the system that I'm currently using with my tasks. So I have secondary inbox, and this secondary inbox is mainly for things that I've decided to do. So I have a scratch pad down here. If I decide, okay, I want to do a task, a thing, I can write it down. If I decide, okay, this is something I need to make sure I do and I don't forget, and it's something that may need to be done tomorrow or the next day, I will then drag it up into this database. And what that does is it automatically attaches the date, today's date to it, and it gives me all of these. And what I would typically do is use the added task. So what it does is it puts a question mark on there, it will have the date there, and then the action date formula works. And I will go through that in a minute because that is a very complicated way of doing stuff. Let's put it that way. So now it's showing up in my secondary inbox, but it will also show up at the bottom of my primary inbox. So I know that for today, this is something that I've added that I could just do a very small, quick thing and get it done. If this is completely empty, I know I can focus straight on my priority inbox. Most of the time I go to my priority inbox, but let's be real, sometimes you look at it and go, I can't be bothered, I just need to start doing something. And if I just need to start doing something, I will go to my secondary inbox because secondary thought, is there something there I can do just to get started? Most of the time there is, so I can just get started with something that will take 2-3 minutes, and then I've got into the flow of working. Right, now let's have a look at my primary inbox. The reason I have all of these tasks up here is because I've recently replanned out some of my YouTube content. And all of these tasks are given dates automatically. I don't have to think about any of this, so this is generated for me. And I will explain that later when I go into the YouTube dashboard, because it will make more sense there. But what you can see in this primary inbox list is you can see the name of the task with an emoji that's appropriate to the task. So this is a business task. This is a question mark task, which is related to this project. These are all the projects which I classify as videos. And I have different icons, and these are icons I have made. So I went to Affinity Photo because that's what I use. And then I just made these icons and put them into my template. So I put them in the YouTube template for the tasks, which we'll go into later. So every time I generate that new task, this is already put on there, so it looks nice because orange is a color I like, okay? So as we go down, you can see these are the 2 added tasks that I added in. They're not related to a project. And because they're not related to a project, this other formula doesn't work. Well, it does work, but it's not on it because it's not that important. So what you can see here is another formula that I have in my space. And the color of the dot is a representation of the progress. So you can see red, not very good, I haven't done much of this project. Orange, I've done a bit more. If it was to be yellow, I would have done more. A green dot means I have 1 task left, and a green tick I won't see on my dashboard because I would have done it, but a green tick means I've completed the project. Then I have 4 days until the deadline, 5 days until the deadline, 1 week until the deadline, 1 week and 5 days till the deadline. You get the point. So I can see how long I have until the deadline of the project, not the task. But they're all being actioned on different days. Some of these tasks are overdue, which is why they're clogging up my system, I guess you could say. So as I scroll down, we then get to tracking. And this is the only place I have the tracking database in my space. And what this basically is just my habits. I need to drink water, I need to clean my teeth, check my emails, look at the comments of YouTube, look at the Facebook group for the members Facebook group. So if you want to talk with me on a regular basis about Notion, about YouTube, about anything in general, you can push the join button and become a member or support me on Patreon, and then you can be in the Facebook group, which is great fun. Then this is my voice reminder. So where's my phone? There it is. I record a lot of stuff on my phone, so I just voice record things when I'm laying in bed or something, and something pops to mind. I struggle to sleep, and I keep it in my head so I don't forget it. And instead of keeping it in my head so I don't forget it, I just turn my phone on, voice record, blah blah blah, whatever it is, and then that's it. And then I know I can forget it because it's saved there. So every day I will go through my voice recordings to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. It's the same thing when I'm out and about and shopping or whatever. Oh yeah, make sure I do this. So it'll be on my phone. This is just a reminder to put whatever I put on my phone onto my scratch pad, which could then be turned into tasks or an added task or whatever it needs to go. Then I have exercise, and this is a multi-select. You can see I've got football because I play football. That's soccer if you're from a country that doesn't understand football. Then walk the dog, push, pull, run, and hit. They're just a couple of categorizations of exercise. I am not heavily focused on performance exercise right now because it's not my focus. I have a degree in strength and conditioning, but I'm not using most of it. And this is there for 2 reasons. One, because it's when it's empty, I look at it and go, I should probably do some exercise today. But also, because it's a property, I use it in my exercise dashboard. So as I scroll down, carry on scrolling down, you can see this is my task. So these are tasks, only events. So if I come up to my filter, I can see tag is event and done is not ticked. So if a task is done, it's not going to show. So if I've done the event, it's not going to show. The tag is event and selection is not empty. That's basically working out with the recurring tasks and things like that. But essentially, this is going to show me all of the events that are coming up. So office hours is something that Marie Pauling hosts on Crowdcast. Wow, get my words out. Every Friday. So I have that as a recurring task in my space. So every Friday. So tomorrow, when that happens, I will say it's done, and then this will move from the 27th to the 4th, and it will jump down. So I can see, okay, this is the office hours. If there isn't an office hours that week, then I will just move it on to the next week with a recurring task. So I just change the completed date to the 27th, to the 4th, and then it will move to the week after. So this is showing me all of the events. This is all of the events in my Google Calendar because everything that goes into Google Calendar is through a Calendly link, so I get an email about it. And what I do is I copy the link to the email and put it into here. So this is a meeting I have with Emma, And you can see here's the Gmail. So these are the emails that Calendly sent me, and I'm going to look at the email anyway to see what we're going to talk about. Then I'm just going to copy and paste it into here, and there it is. So I can go straight to that link, which takes me to Calendly, which takes me to the Zoom meeting, and everything's sorted, and I can see it all in here. It's all saved in Notion. Nice and easy. I could use Google Calendar, but then I have to go between two apps, and I don't want to do that. Just my preference. So as you scroll down, I mentioned exercise. So you can see this is my exercise dashboard. And this dashboard, quite literally, is just the tracking database, so where I have all my habits. And I'm just showing, reminder, because that's the name of the pages that I'm generating every single day. It's a new page. And I have all the exercise showing. So you can see I walked the dog on a Wednesday. I walked it on Saturday then. And then you can see the exercise that I've done over the last month. You can see I haven't really done that much deliberate exercise. I'm still doing small bits, but nothing notable or noteworthy. Every single one of these pages has all of those tick boxes that you can see on that page. So if I wanted to see it, I could. I personally don't, but it's there if I need it. Something else I use this tracking database for is for metrics. These metrics, as you can see, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., etc. So I'm using this database to do multiple things. And how I view those metrics, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. You can see I have a linked database of tracking here. But if I go into the database page of this tracking, it is then filtered for something else. So if we go into the filter, you can see day contains the emoji. This is a formula that I have in this space, and I'm only showing the pieces of information I want to see. And what this allows me to do is, even though this database has an entry for every single day since January 20, well actually it's before that, but I have an entry for every single day up from January to November. So there's a good 300 entries in this database, but I don't need to see them all. And what I do is I track my data, as you can see, the first of every month. And that is a recurring task in my space. Every month, every first of the month, it will come up and say, do your tracking. So I will go in and do the tracking. You see September, there's nothing in there because I didn't do it apparently. But I can see the numbers and what's going on, and this is just nice to see. And what this is actually filtering for is if I go into the page, you can see I have a formula here. And what this formula is doing, it's a very simple formula. It's just looking and saying, does date equal 1? Which basically means, is it the first of the month? If it is, put a tick. If it's not, don't. And then I wanted to put what day of the week it was because I'm curious as to see what day of the week it is. So you can see, yes, this is a tracking day because it's ticked, and it's a Sunday. So this was a Sunday. The 1st of November was a Sunday, apparently. And what I can do inside of the tracking database is I can then go to any day that I want, and I can see what day it is. But that's just something that I like to see sometimes when I'm going through things just for reference. As I scroll down to the bottom of my space, you can see I have events calendar. Now, this is an events calendar from the Notion Ambassadors page, and you can have access to seeing everything that's going on. And I'll leave a link in the description below to a resource that Ben Smith, one of the other Notion Ambassadors, has created. It's a Notion community page where you can see everything that's going on in Notion, in the Reddit, in the Discord, in Facebook, and it has access to this calendar. So you can see what's going on. So you can see this is a live stream I'm doing on Saturday. This is another live stream I'm doing on Sunday with John, another Notion nerd. So you can see both of our live streams. You can see there's the office hours that I mentioned in my in the calendar here. There's the office hour, and that is the one that's happening tomorrow. You probably won't see this till next week, so it will probably be this one. But you can go to that link in the description and you'll have access to this to see what is going on. Now, this is going to be very specific to my personal workflow because I know how I work. I know the system that I've worked with, which is why I've built the system the way it is. So this linked database at the top is filtered for done is ticked and completed is today. So whenever I complete a task, I will drag it from priority inbox up to done today. And what this will do is if I change the view in here, you can see these are the things that I've done today. So I did 2 meetings, I helped my sister out with an essay, and then I published the Notion versus ClickUp video. Now, these tasks now have a done tick box and a completed date. The completed date is helping out with this, and the completed date is also helping out with recurring tasks. The tasks that show in my primary inbox are being checked for by a formula property. This formula property is basically looking at whether the task is due or not. And this formula property is looking at another one, which I'm going to explain now. So I'm going to go into my YouTube dashboard to explain this. Inside this dashboard, I will do the majority of YouTube specific planning. So this is a link to my projects database, which, as you can remember, has the templates for the blog post, the Instagram, etc., etc. And we're going to go into the YouTube one in a second. But you can see these are all of the projects that I have YouTube related. You can see there's the green dot, there's a red dot, there's the red cross to say, I haven't done anything. And if I was to go back in the calendar view, you could see, okay, this one I've done all of those because of the green checks. The yellow ones, I'm almost there and I'm almost done. Then I have projects that don't have dates on. So these are video ideas that I've said, yes, that is a good idea, but I don't know when I'm going to do it yet. So it's there. And I can drag it into the calendar view and it will attach a date to it. Once I've attached a date to it, I can then make it into a project. But before I do that, before I go through that, this is the linked version of the notes database. So in my dashboard, those notes that I put the YouTube video template on gives it that dashboard relation to YouTube, so it shows up here. So I have a list, loads of video ideas. Some of them I just delete and get rid of them. Some of them I go, yes, that's going to be a video idea, and I will turn it into a video idea. But I won't put a date on it because I need to work out where it's going to fit. That relates to YouTube strategy, which I will go through in a video that I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks' time. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested to see my YouTube strategy. Then I have general notes that are related to YouTube that don't have specific things to do with videos. And then I have my tasks. And these tasks, this is just to see what's going on so I can see what's going on. But these are all automatically generated through the formula that I will go through now. So let's quickly give you an example of a new video. Say I have a video up here that I want to do. I will drag it in and I will turn it into a new video. So I'm going to call it new video, just so I don't get confused when I'm going back after this video. And I'm going to push the template button. Now, boom, 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 boom. We can see the progress is currently saying add tasks. So I don't have any tasks in this project right now. And what that means is I need to drag all of these tasks that are in the template. So I click the template and these are already here. So these are the tasks inside the project template. And inside the LinkedIn, the Facebook, the live stream, they all have different tasks inside those templates. Now what I can do is I will drag all of these across and I will drag them down and plop them in. Now by doing that, what it has done, because of the filter, it's attached the project relation to it. So it contains new, because that's the name of this project, this video. And it's also attached the dashboard, so it's YouTube related. What it's also done, because it is now related to YouTube, it's also attached a date to it. So if I go into research, you can see action date is the 14th of December. I go into record, the action date is the 16th of December. I go into thumbnail, it is the 18th of December. And that is automatically generated because I have a theme of the day. So as I scroll down and I go to my task database, you can see I have a theme of the day. So I will have research on a Monday, I have script on a Tuesday, I have recording on a Wednesday, etc., etc. And what the formula is doing, so if I go into, you can see this is the project, so these are the new tasks that we've just added in. If I go into this task, you can see this is the formula, and it's too big for the actual formula box. I do have a template for my entire space, which I will also link in the description below, which will have this formula in and the other formula that I use for my dashboard. But essentially what you're looking at is the formula is looking what dashboard the task is in. So if we try and find, where is it? You can see here it is. This is asking for dashboard is YouTube. If the dashboard equals YouTube, then what it's going to do is it's going to look for 2 weeks before the due date of the project. And then it's going to add in the days of the week that I want the task done. So you can see script has got 1, so it's going to go at the beginning of the week, add 1, so Tuesday. So if there is a task called script that is in the YouTube dashboard, then it will be put 2 weeks before the project due date on Tuesday. And what this formula is doing is it's doing that calculation for every single task in YouTube, in Facebook, in Instagram, in LinkedIn, everything. And it also checks to see if there is a date put in the date property, because the events that I put in the date property will have an actual date property to it. It's not a formula created date. So that date can change around. If there is a date in it, the date will override anything that this formula is suggesting. Now, the biggest advantage of doing it in this way is when I change the due date of the project, the tasks move with it. So if we go down, you can see new. So this is the new project. It's currently due on the 31st of December. If I move this up to the 17th, all of those tasks will now have been moved. You can see they're no longer on the 14th, 15th, 16th, etc. They've now all been moved up or back 2 weeks because the project due date has changed. What this means is I can move the due date of all of my videos around wherever I want and the tasks will move appropriately. So if I have loads of tasks on my main dashboard and I realize actually I don't want to do these videos now, I can go into YouTube, move the due date of the project, and those tasks dates will move automatically. They will disappear off my main dashboard and other tasks may reappear, which is where I'm currently at in my dashboard, which is why you can see all those tasks on there, because I changed the video due dates to some of the videos which put tasks overdue. Now, because every single task is going to have an action date on it, I can then use another formula to say whether it is due or whether it isn't. And the reason I do this is because the recurring tasks I have in my space also rely on that formula I have in the action date. So as I go into my space, you can see these are all the recurring tasks or reminders I have in my space. I have some birthdays in there. I've got Marie's and Jonathan's in there. I don't have their date of birth in there because that would be rude. So that's just their birthday because that's what I recorded. I may blur that out. I don't know. But you can see I have a selection, which is weeks, day of the week, birthday, day of the week, day of the month. And what the action formula is doing, the action date formula is doing, is it's looking at the last time I completed that reminder, that task, whatever it is. It's then looking at the occurrence, looking at the selection, and then putting the next appropriate date on for whatever it is. So you can see this was last completed, this meeting was last completed on the 25th, and it's due 3 days of the week. So that's Wednesday, day of the week. So every single Wednesday, I have a meeting with John to record the podcast, the Notion Nerds podcast. And if you haven't listened to it, I will also leave and if you haven't listened to it, I will leave in the link in the description below to the podcast that John and I do every week. So the 25th was the last time I completed this. So that was yesterday. And what this has now done is gone, oh, okay, that means the 2nd of December is the next time it needs to show. So this is generating a new day. Now, what this formula is now doing is going, okay, so what this formula is doing is basically looking, okay, is the due date now or is it before now? If it is, put a tick. If it's not, don't. In other words, is the task due or not? Yes or no? If it is, show it. If it's not, don't. And this is what I'm using to filter in my main dashboard. So when I come back to my main dashboard, you can see action date is ticked, etc., etc. So it doesn't matter whether it's a recurring task, whether it's a normal task, whether it's an overdue task, it will show if I need to do it and it won't show if I don't need to do it. I also have a sort on this view and it is sorted for project is ascending. So what this means is if the project is due before another one, the task for that project will show at the top of the list, which is why this is saying 4 days, 5 days, 1 week, etc. going down, because that's how I sort my tasks when it comes to priority. Now, I do realize my setup is quite nerdy and it's very specific to my personal workflow, but there are loads of different ways you can do things in Notion, and if you watch one of these 2 videos, it will give you a better idea on how you can build your own space. I'll see you there.